thank you for being here. I really very much appreciate it.
Yeah,
Can you
I'm
take a
honored to
moment?
be here.
Thank you. Can you take a moment and just introduce yourself?
I am Steve Allen. I've been a customer here at Rubenstein Brothers since I was 16 years old. I am now 60, so I've been a part of this family for 44 years. Um, I remember all this. I remember the Madison shop. Of course, when I was 16, I couldn't do anything but dream about the Madison shop. But yeah, I've been around here since I was a kid.
So you grew up here in New Orleans.
I grew up in New Orleans. We originally from Michigan, but we moved here when I was 12. And my dad was a guy that liked to dress, so I guess I kind of got it from him. Um, and I mean, Rubenstein was the place to go. I mean, it has always been the place to go. So at 16, it's crazy because I think this was my first charge account, my first credit was at Rubenstein Brothers.
When you were 16, did you?
When I was 16 years old, I got an account here. I was working. I was working for Zales Jewelers. I've been working since I was 15, and I was working for Zales Jewelers, and they made the mistake of giving me credit at 16. Mr. Ostendorf, and man, I've been a part of this family ever since, and it's grown because not am I only a customer, but I actually feel like I'm a part of this family. I've grown to really, really love and respect David and Andre, and now Kenny. Kenny and I kind of grew up together, you know. Um, I've been a part of the special dinners they've invited me to. I've even gone on a buy-in trip. I went to New
Really?
York. I went to New York on a buy-in trip to kind of pick out clothes for the store, and I was honored to do that. I'm like, man, y'all want my input?
That's
And
amazing.
yeah, so it was good. So I mean,
Did you went with David? You went with Kenny?
I went with David and Kenny.
And Kenny.
Yeah.
Well, they've gone and did that.
Yeah,
I
we
wondered
went.
which
Yeah,
combination.
we went together. My wife and my daughter and I went. I went with them to the stores, and my wife and my daughter went and spent money. But
Yeah.
it was awesome, absolutely awesome. They've they've watched me. Of course, I was single when I first started. They've seen me go through all my transitions in life. I've gotten married, and then I had kids. They treated my kids like they were a part of the family, and now every time I see David, he wants to see my grandkids, and we're always exchanging. So I'm like in the family. Yeah, I'm in the family. Yeah, so I'm just honored. I'm honored to be able to do this because of the rich history that this store has. It This is the men's store and has been the men's store for New Orleans. Anybody that, as a matter of fact, I think I've been able now to reintroduce Rubenstein Brothers to Rubensteins to people because some guy, 100 years, sometimes people get away and they feel like I've talked to guys recently and said, man, you need to go try out Rubenstein Brothers. They're shopping other places. And they, man, they're just so conservative. I said, you don't know. They've gone through a lot of changes. They've got new buyers. So I've introduced some new guys to the store, and now they're in love with it. They
That's
absolutely are. So, yeah.
You got to change. If you're going to be 100 years old, you best.
Exactly right, and that's what they've done well with that. Brought in younger guys to kind of keep them up and keep them relevant, and it's been good. And people like myself at 60 years old, I want to be relevant. You know, I want to dress like the young guys. Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
You don't want to dress like, I read the other day that, you remember that show, The Golden Girls? It was on.
Yes, yeah.
Do you know those women were in their 50s?
Yes, yes. Even the older lady was really young. Yeah, I know.
So, anyway, we don't want that.
No,
Um,
no.
So, you said you opened a credit account at 16.
At 16
Do you
years
remember
old.
that process? I mean, what did you couldn't possibly have collateral or anything. What was
No.
he looking for?
So if I
Like a
could,
meet
we're
with
talking
Mr.
about. Let me see. I'm trying to see. No, I think there was like you had to fill out like references and stuff, and they called your job. Of course, there was no computers at that time, so there was no credit check, and I had no credit bureau anyway. But they called my job to see if I had a stable job, um, and I think some personal references, if I can remember. You know, that's been 44 years ago,
Right.
but I know it's not like it is now.
Yeah.
And it was just, I guess it was, back then business was more like a handshake kind of business, even banking. And they trusted me. And let me tell you something, that meant the world to me, even as a 16-year-old kid, that these people trusted me. And I'm like, that, so I didn't want to mess that up.
Yeah.
Because, people trust you, it means a lot. Yeah.
Was there a particular piece of clothing that made you want to come in or or say, oh, I need a credit account because I need that?
So at 16, I used to want to wear suits and stuff. I remember some shoes. They used to sell these shoes named Joel Parkers a long time ago, and I wanted some Joel Parkers. I dreamed about that stuff,
Yeah.
and I was able to buy that. I mean, I didn't have anything else to do with my money, but buy clothes. I had no family. I was living with my mother, so I loved to dress. So this was my spot.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, and you mentioned that your brother also worked here.
My brother worked here. My brother was in. My brother's name is Glenn Allen. He sold shoes here for a long time. I mean, I've been through all.
Is he an older brother or younger?
He's a year and a half older than me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was he working here when you came in at 16?
No. We're both kids. But he later on, to tell you how much we were impressed with the store, he got a job here. I was working for Zales Jewelers. He was working for. We were both in retail, and he was working here. Matter of fact, he was working at a women's shoe store. I think it was called Chandler's down the street, and it was always his desire. And it was like you had to go through a process to work for Rubenstein Brothers. And man, he was so honored when he got the job to work for Rubensteins.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
That's
so
great.
he worked here for a long time. We're both pastors now, so but we've got rich history in retail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of a shift, but maybe not as much as some
Well,
people realize.
well, yeah, we just changed our product.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, what is it that what do you think, why would someone come to Rubenstein's to spend a lot of money on clothes rather than going online and maybe getting the same thing for less or going to a department store? What is the difference?
Well, for me, I'm the guy that's got to touch it. I got to try it on. I got to feel it. But then you get that personal touch when you come here. I mean, I think people are still kind of blown away when they come here and they actually see David and Andre still working every day. I mean, that means the world to people. And then you get a chance to see the clothes, even them, the way they dress. So they end up being an example for people that come in. So that means the world to me. Yeah. I'm not an online shopper guy.
Yeah. When you say it means the world to you, what does it say to you? What is it that you see when you see it?
Well, it says that these people are dedicated to. I come here sometimes, and we're talking about David Rubenstein. He's out there parking cars. I mean, you know what that says to anybody? That's the owner of the store, and it just that personal touch means everything. I mean, he's not so high on the horse that he won't. He's a servant. He comes and he wants to serve his customers, and I mean that goes a long way with me. I'm the same kind of person, and to see the kind of heart that they have for people and the passion that they have, it means the world to me.
Do you think it's important to dress well?
Oh,
Or
I
is it
do.
just something-
No, yes, I know. I mean, I know we live in a time now where everybody's kind of relaxed, kind of like I am today. But I do think that I was just talking about this the other day. I think you're received differently when, of course, people judge you from what they see before they actually know who you are. So it's always important the way you present yourself.
What do you think is the difference? What's the different assessment someone makes of you when you're dressed well versus when you're not dressed well? What is it you're saying?
Well, I think that success breeds success. I think if somebody looks at you and you look like you're successful, if you're in business, they want to do business with you. If you're a preacher, they want to hear what you have to say. Mm-hmm. I think it's important the way you present yourself. Your presentation is the first thing people judge, so I think it's real important.
I'm curious, I don't know the answer to this, so
Okay.
this may be short, but when the ladies' shop was here, did your wife ever come?
My wife, yes,
Oh, yeah?
she did. My wife shopped here. We loved it.
Yeah.
She absolutely, because she could find stuff here that she could, you didn't see it anywhere else in the city, and she loved that. God, I can't remember the lady's name. Is it Sugar? Sugar. That's right. Yeah, she was awesome. She was awesome. Yeah, my wife used to love shopping here, but she was kind of disappointed when the ladies' shop went away. Yeah,
I was as well. All
yeah,
these years, I finally had a place I could,
yeah. It was awesome.
but yeah, things change.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's
Things
true.
change.
You know, I taught a lesson just for New Year's Eve. We're just talking about the new year and talking about how things change. You have to change with changing times. And here's a true statement: anything that refuses to change will die. And that's business, that's churches, that's anything. You got to change with changing times. And Rubenstein Brothers has done that down through the years. That's why they're still alive for 100 years.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I think they have innovated over the years. We've heard from folks about the suburban stores and All American Jeans and
Yeah.
different innovations. But is there anything that you feel is consistent that says um, this is how you know it's a Rubenstein's experience? It wouldn't be Rubenstein's without this thing or this value or this idea.
I think you could wrap it up in probably three words: quality, personal touch, and consistency. They have been consistent for 100 years. I mean, who can say that? They've been consistent. When you mention the name Rubenstein Brothers, you you could mention quality. You know that whatever you're dealing with is going to be quality. Yeah.
So tell me about the buying trip. I'm really intrigued by that. How did they invite you to begin with, and where did you go, and what did you see, and what surprised you?
It was amazing. I absolutely loved it. And of course, it was a little personal for me because I got a chance to see all the stuff before anybody else saw it. And I can also say, hey, get that in my size. But I can't remember how it came up. I think David invited me. It was either David or Kenny because I buy a lot of clothes.
Yeah.
And I think they kind of appreciate my style. So they thought, again, we're talking about being innovative and changing with changing times. So they're kind of like, hey, what do you think to work in the store? And honestly, I was really, really honored by that. So I got a chance to, I went to New York. Um, I went to Zegna. I went to uh, the Polos, well, not Ralph Lauren. Absolutely amazing. For me to go into those places just was, I absolutely loved it. It was great. And I got a chance to have some input. I have pictures of me sitting at the table at Zegna with them in Canali, sitting down at the table picking out material and stuff. So it was a great experience. I'm
Did
going to
it
do it again.
change anything? Did it change the way you saw the clothes? Like, did it bring more insight or any
Well, I mean, it was good
surprises?
for me. I don't know if surprises would be the word, but it was good for me to see the process. You know, like how you have to be ahead of time because they were ordering for like the next season, and and then so they were actually being introduced to styles that nobody had seen yet, and there was stuff that's going to be, stuff that may be hot in Europe that we hadn't seen yet. So I got a chance to see all this stuff ahead of time. So it was awesome. It was awesome.
Did you notice when it then came?
Oh, I did. Oh, I was waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was waiting. Yeah, it was awesome. It was
That's
good.
really interesting.
Yeah.
Really great. Tell me about have you when you talk to other people? You said you've persuaded a few folks to give it another try.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you tell them? What do you tell them about why they should come?
Well, I think I don't have to say much because they look at my clothes, they see what I wear, and I get a lot of questions because I'm a preacher. I'm on social media. I've got a lot of followers, and so a lot of people compliment me on the stuff that I wear, and I get a chance to tell them where I got it from. But friends that are in my circle, they see me up close all the time. They're like, "Man, I had never seen that here." So you hadn't been to Rubenstein lately. So you're still dealing with the conservative Rubenstein. They've got some amazing stuff now. So yeah, I get a chance to. I'm a walking billboard for you.
We appreciate
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
um, do you think that it matters to the city of New Orleans to have a store that's 100 years old?
Oh, yes, yes. I mean, again, we're talking about rich, 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 rich history. Anybody that has ever lived in New Orleans knows the name Rubenstein. And so it's familiar. Of course, we got a lot of new stuff coming to the city, but I mean, to have a name that's been around this long on this corner is is awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
This corner is quite the corner.
It is. It is. It really is. Um, I'm just sitting here right now. I can't believe that I've been coming to this corner since I was 16 years old, and I'm 60.
Mm,
That's amazing.
that
That's
is
amazing to me.
amazing.
I don't know if there's any other places I could say that I've been going to for the last 44 years. Yeah.
Oh, um, let's see. What else can we think about? Uh,
I'll tell you another thing that I really, really, really appreciated. Um, a few years before COVID, it was either at the end of the year, or the beginning of the year, they would have a big dinner for all their good customers. Basically, rent out a restaurant and I mean, it was red carpet treatment. Absolutely. I mean, that kind of stuff really hits people in the heart to show them that you appreciate their business. You're not just another number, just another customer, but it was like a customer appreciation. Like, we just want to show y'all how much we appreciate you. I also appreciate the heart of this business because there's been times that there was clothing that they were giving away,
mhm.
and I was able to give suits and shoes. There's people in my congregation wearing suits that they would have never bought, shoes that they never would have bought, uh, but it was donated
Yeah.
by the store. And I mean, that kind of stuff means the world. I love giving, and for them to have the kind of heart to give stuff they could have sold, it meant the world to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got some guys walking around with some real nice stuff in my church.
Well,
Yeah.
when you started shopping here at 16, you weren't going to be one of the customers. If that, they probably didn't have the dinners, but if they had the dinners, that wouldn't have been you. You
Right,
didn't have the
right,
means for it.
exactly.
Um, how did you grow into that customer, and did it change the way you were treated here in the store?
No, so that's a very good question because, right, when I came here, I was 16, didn't have a lot of money. I was dreaming, but they treated me like I was already there. And I guess that's what kept me coming back because, even at 16 years old, somebody's respecting you like, I was a kid, but they were respecting me like I was a grown man. And somebody that I didn't get treated any different than the guy buying the Zegna suit or the Brioni suit. Uh, I shouldn't have even been able to go upstairs to the Madison shop, but I was in there walking around looking. But you got to let people dream because dreams come true, and I think that's what really meant a lot to me at that age because they didn't treat me like some little get out of here, you little snotty nose kid. No, they treated me like you may not be able to shop in the Madison shop today, but we're gonna be here for you when you're ready.
Yeah.
And when I was ready, they treated me just like they always did. And that goes back to that word consistency. They've been consistent down through the years. And it's been on and on because I mean that same consistency is now on the next generation. Kenny's the same guy that he's got that same spirit that I met when I was 16 years old. Yeah.
It's nice to hear.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm his sister. I mean,
Right. No, he does. We love Kenny.
He's
Yeah,
a good man.
yeah.
Well, I want to respect your time, but I also want to make sure that you get to say all the things you want to say.
Yeah.
So, are there people that you want to pull out in particular who've made an impression on you, or any particular story you want to be sure you know?
Well, of course, my salesman is Roberto. Roberto is my guy. He's since he's been here, he's been my salesperson. I remember during COVID, and the store was closed, and then y'all had some kind of renovations going on at one point. Roberto, I live probably 35 miles away. Roberto loaded up his car and brought clothes out to my house and said, "Pick out what you want." I mean, who you can't get beyond that as it relates to service. So Roberto's awesome. Um, James, uh, James makes. Let me tell you something. One of the guys I invited to this store, one of the biggest things that he loved was having James to valet his car. He's like, "They have a valet at the store." I said, "Yeah, just pull up." Because one of his complaints was, "There's nowhere to park." So you don't have to worry about that. Just pull up. He could not believe it. And so James adds great value to this store because it's all about serving people. So James, Roberto, I love all the guys. Ozzy's been here forever. Been knowing Ozzy forever. Ozzy's an amazing guy. Um, so I mean, again, it's one big family for me. Yeah.
You know, when you were 16 and you got here, James was just a young employee.
Right.
He was here though.
He was. Oh wow.
Yeah, he's been
Well,
here 40.
but he wasn't valeting back then.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
started in a different position. But
It
he
wouldn't have
was
mattered anyway because I didn't have a car.
here. Just y'all might have run into each other.
Right. Wow. He's been there how long?